Hi, everybody.
Welcome to Podro Pascal, a Pedro Pascal podcast. I am your co-host, Rachel Leishman.
I'm your other co-host, Catrina Dennis.
We're here with the first recap for The Mandalorian Season 3, The Apostate, which it took me a really long time to realize that was not Apostate.
It's better than The Apostate.
It is better than The Apostate. Season 3, Episode 1, The Apostate, which brings us back into the action post Grogu and Din's reunion on a different show.
Yes.
I don't hate it as much as many others do, but it is funny.
I mean, we'll talk about it, but this episode is just like, there's just a lot of moments that are like, oh yeah, that happened off screen, and they just like do it in a minute and it's over, and then I don't have to worry about it again. So I'm not mad.
I don't hate that it all wrapped up on the Book of Boba Fett, but it is kind of funny that you're like, yeah, all that happened on the Book of Boba Fett. So if you didn't watch that, you're like, what the fuck happened between that and this? But for everyone listening to this first, don't worry. Catrina's gonna talk about premiere.
Yes.
It's gonna happen.
Yes, I am.
We're just gonna do it after this. So when you see us wearing the same clothes, don't be weird about it.
Yeah, we're just gonna record these episodes back to back, and man, I should really upload some stuff in between recordings because there's a lot of stuff to upload.
Yes, it's gonna get spoken about.
Yes, yes.
But wait, patience, my children, patience.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, we are first going to talk about the season premiere of Mando. Gina, before we get in, what are your thoughts? What are your overall thoughts?
I'm glad that we're living through the Pedro Sans. I can't believe that now we like it's like a good and like an also like kind of stressful thing because it's like we get him twice a week now, which means they get us twice a week or more on this week in particular. So it's just it's exciting. It's also just like whoa. So I don't know, but I was excited for this to come back. I love the Mandalorian. Like I don't have the lack of media literacy, I guess, that it takes to only like one Star Wars show over another. So you know, it's like pizza and ice cream, and Mandalorian is like ice cream to me, and Andor is like pizza, and I like them both. Yeah, so I like it. It's good. I'm excited.
I love Mando. It was my favorite show, and then you know Star Wars shows just kept coming out, and they were all really good. It is still I think my favorite, but I love Obi-Wan. I like Book of Boba Fett a lot. That was not the Book of Boba Fett what I just said, but you guys know I meant
the Boba.
I was like the Book of Boba.
I like both of those shows.
Andor is like top tier just show in general. I just love Andor. I'm just excited to have Din back. That's my husband. That's my himbo husband. I love him so much.
Father.
I will say on this press tour, Catrina, I realized there's another now image where it's me and you, sort of, because me and you and McGregor, that's a Scottish. And when he did the thing with Pedro Pascal, it was a Scottish and a Chilean, and now Jon Favreau and Pedro Pascal were together, so it's an Italian.
Oh. Yes.
Because Jon Favreau is technically half Italian. I was like, same guy. We got it. I think I'm a little less, but whatever. I'm Jon Favreau, as always. I should have worn my Jon Favreau tank top for this. I'll pull it out for one of these episodes.
And it's me, Pedro Pascal.
You're always Pedro Pascal. I'm always the white friend on the side. And this is my white friend Rachel. Speak, Rachel. I lie.
Exactly. It's you know, it's an honor just to be Pedro Pascal.
It is perfect that I am Jon Favreau. You know, we can never forget my iconic running after Jon Favreau in Anaheim, California, and taking still one of the best pictures I've ever taken in my life. That was a weekend of back-to-back straight bops of images.
Oh yeah,
sprang over Harrison Ford, and then me and Jon Favreau just.
I like that we both saw him in Anaheim because you saw him then, and I saw him like right around this time last year, I was at Disneyland and I saw him on my birthday while I was leaving Batu and he was heading toward Batu. And I was just walking around my merry way. And my boyfriend was like, "That's Jon Favreau." And I was like, "What? Where?" And there he was looking at Tom Sawyer's Island. So
He's like, I need ideas. And I love him so much. Jon Favreau, if you're listening to this, I love you. I respect you and your relationship and your wife, but I would marry you if you asked, but I love you so much. And I just want to talk about
barring
swingers.
that, you could just come on the podcast.
Yeah, I just want to talk about the movie Swingers, not being swingers. To be clear, I want to talk about the movie Swingers.
Yes, you don't have to marry Rachel. You do have to be a guest on the podcast. So
yeah, you do need to be. You do need to be a guest on the podcast.
Yeah,
because that's what I deserve in this world, and you deserve in this world as
bare
two
minimum,
people.
really.
Yeah, and it is Catrina's. Technically, this is the beginning. This is the first bread slice of Catrina's birthday.
That's true. It's my birthday week. Sort of. I mean, technically my birthday is next week, but it's the start of March, which is my birthday month. So it's my birthday for the next 30 days. 31? 30? I don't know. I forget how many days are in March. 31.
How many days in March? 31 days.
31.
Google
the calendar is right there. So for the next 31 days, starting at the time of this recording, it's my birthday, which means that I get to make birthday wishes, and my birthday wishes are that John and Pedro come on the podcast and hang out.
Yeah, you guys can just replace us if you want.
Yeah, you can just take over. We'll just give you the podcast.
And just we'll just go. Hey.
It'll just, these middle-aged men will be like, "My name is Rachel Leishman, and my name is Catrina Dennis."
I would love if Jon Favreau was like, "My name is Rachel Leishman." Still, one of my favorite things in this world is one of the very few people in a public space to ever say my name correctly was on a live stream for some book, and Robert Downey Jr. said, and this question is from Rachel Leishman, and I was like, did he just say my last name correctly? But I will say, really quickly before we get into this, they did this Snack Wars, which I love the Snack Wars. I think they're very funny. I think Lad Bible does them, if I remember correctly. For those who don't know what it is, they get snacks from different countries and people have to try them. For this, it was US versus Chile. And so it was really kind of fun to see Podro Pascal basically I know all of these as someone who he grew up, he was born in Chile and then moved and lived in the US. So he's like, I have obviously tried all of these. I think the first one was a Reese's. And Jon Favreau was like, have you tried this? And he was like, yes. But it was really fun because I was like, first of all, Chef is one of my favorite movies. I love the movie Chef. So this is going to be very funny watching Jon Favreau, who I know loves food and cooking, do this very simple thing. And unfair, I forget what the US snack even was, but it was something versus an empanada. I was like, oh, it was a fucking quarter pounder versus an empanada. I was like,
oh, there's no contest.
I was like, how are you going to do that? Yeah, it was a quarter pounder versus an empanada. I was like, how are you going to put anything up against an empanada? As much as I love a bad McDonald's meal, there's so many random empanada trucks around my apartment, and I have to constantly be like, I can't. I need to keep my head down and walk. I'm gonna come home with 12 of them. I just put my head down and walk away. But it was crazy. Anyway, The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So we're back. Din's here. Catrina, I do have a question for you for this first moment.
Yeah.
Did you think it was a flashback and that was baby Din?
No, because that child. Can I say this publicly? The child was white.
It's a white child. Yeah.
I think that the only thing I felt was for 2 seconds I was like, I hope they didn't cast some new white kid as baby Din, because that's weird. Because they already have a baby Din, and they could have just brought him back because it's been 2 years. He would have aged correctly. But I think that was an intentional fake out where it's oh, it's a flashback. But I think it's also interesting in that scene how quickly the armorer and Pax were able to just gather people up within whatever time span Jon Favreau says has happened.
2 years, I think. Listen, we just went through this whole thing at work because no one knew that there was a time jump. Not really, but like no one knew that there was a time.
We've been Star
Everyone
Wars
was
fans all our
waiting.
lives, and they've been like, oh yeah, there's a year between A New Hope and Empire. There's 3 years between A New Hope and Empire. And the dial just slides based on like what storytelling is. So I don't like time in Star Wars doesn't really matter to me.
It
Like
means nothing.
yeah.
They could come out tomorrow and be like, actually, Return of the Jedi was supposed to be 10 years post Empire Strikes Back, and everyone would be like, yes, that's canon. And I'd be like, well, okay, I guess I'm not changing everything I've ever written to reflect this new.
Yeah, but even if that were like the time, like it seems like a long time for Mando and Grogu, but at the same time, that's an extremely short amount of time to build up your new cult and have children in it. Like the Armorer must have hauled up and started traveling to like gather all these folks together to be part of the cult because all their armor looks pretty new. All of her folks were wiped out very, very brutally. I think last season. So yeah, it's an interesting opening scene, but yeah.
Yeah, and then fucking Lake Placid happens.
Right? That freaking Jurassic Park dinosaur, or Jurassic World dinosaur, just like comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, the Megalodon.
Yeah.
The Megalodon appeared.
It's so funny because like I expect The Last of Us to be like the jump scare show. I haven't been jump scared at all in that show. And I got jump scared, I think like at least once. Yeah, once in this episode and once in the second episode, which we'll review next week, folks.
Yes. Spoiler, not spoiler. I guess this is a note. Catrina and I have both watched the second episode, but this is just for the first. I watched it for my screeners. Catrina has watched it because she went to the premiere. So this is just hello. Yeah. Us two only talking about the first episode,
but that definitely it like came out of nowhere. I was like, oh my goodness, like it was a little bit of a jump.
Yeah, just nutty. I loved when my space alligator spun around like an alligator. I think I was so tired because I woke up at like 7 to watch it because I yelled "meth gator," you know the movie. I was like, "meth gator."
Cocaine Bear's greatest enemy. Meth
yeah, Cocaine's Bear's greatest enemy. This giant alligator in space on the Mandalorian. I love when she went spin, 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 spin because they were trying to stop her. I have some questions. Like, why is this gator thinking, yeah, I'm going to eat some of these people? You're huge. That is the tiniest little appetizer. You're not going to get full.
It's what we call a snack attack.
Yeah. Also, so is Jon Favreau not voicing Paz anymore?
I don't know. I don't think, like, the lines were so short. I can't say for sure that, like, he's not voicing Paz, but he has credited someone else as Paz Vizsla. So it may just be the person in the suit. But I'm not sure. I can't see.
On StarWars.com, it says for an all-new character, so I'm assuming this was from the book of Boba Fett, who the same actor is credited for playing him in both, but Jon Favreau did the voice. But then I don't think, if I remember correctly, in the credits, Jon Favreau's not listed. I don't know if they changed that or what. But I was like, is that the same one? It was crazy. But yeah, the Armorer and Paz Vizsla are like fighting for these children. I do love this fake out baby.
Yeah. I mean, it's adorable.
Who's standing there? Well, because I think a lot of people got tripped up on the fact that they were like, he never finished the Creed. And so I think people were like, oh, they're trying to say that Din was never. And I was like, I think it's just a different child. And then Din flew in, and I was like, oh, yeah, he's literally just a different child. If you weren't convinced before when a white child was standing in front of you, maybe it'll help if Din Djarin flies in.
He just pulls up like
yeah, I have a picture of it.
He kills the monster and then he pulls up like, I'm going to 7-Eleven. Anybody want anything?
Yeah. Grogu's waving. They're like, what up? It's us. Copenhagen. You good? I'm good. We just flew in and saved the day. And here's the thing about this episode that pisses me the fuck off. Sorry to swear, but it made me so mad when he goes down to talk to the Lady Armorer and she does not give two shits that they would be dead had he not come and saved them. And she's like, "What are you doing here? You're not a Mandalorian." I am beginning to hate this cult leader so much.
Yeah, I feel like there's a reckoning that's like on the horizon about Mandalore, because the problem with it, as problems are in so many societies, is that the lack of unification and the lack of empathy for different ways of life has broken them apart in the past. Not to like be this guy, but like, there was a time when a Kryze who wasn't Bo-Katan was like, we should all just be peaceful. And nobody agreed with that, and nobody had a good way to go about that. And so Maul came in and was like, well, I'm just gonna haul up and ruin everything for everyone. And Mandalorian society has been broken apart that way multiple times. It's their greatest weakness, is that they can't accept one another, and they can't accept new ideas, and they can't respect other ideas, and I think that, like, what I would love to see is maybe not like, oh, we're all one religion or we're all one this, but like accepting the fact that like this being this way doesn't make you less Mandalorian, or like, yeah. So I don't know. Diversity on Mandalore.
Mandalore, diversify yourselves.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and it's like the thing is like whenever Bo-Katan does make good points, you have to like stop and think about it, and it's like, well, you were kind of part of a cult, and
Yeah.
you also are like truly like fucking mean about Boba Fett for no fucking reason. Like you're so mean to Boba Fett.
So mean. Oh my god. I just, well, like, I feel another thing that I feel about Bo-Katan, especially the way she is in this episode, and we can talk about it later, is that we're seeing Bo at like her lowest of lows. Like, she's been through bad stuff before. She's seen her people fall apart before, but right now she's got nobody. And she's like all alone in her little castle, and it's very sad. And like, there's no way that's not a setup for her to come back like super badass and awesome. But like, yeah, Bo is at rock bottom right now. She's doing everything but drinking.
We'll get to it, but
Yeah.
when she's just sitting on that throne at the end of this episode, it is the funniest thing. I was like, same. That's me working every day on my couch, just like lounging out, writing.
It's like, I hope she at least has good Wi-Fi there, because it looks kind of boring.
She's just sitting there. She doesn't even have a book.
Yeah.
As I said, these two roll up. And it is again because Din wants, like, it is so sad watching how much he wants to be a part of the Children of the Watch and how much they just don't care and like don't care to even listen to reason. Like the reason he took off his helmet, and he has not taken it off, even though they've told him, you're not a Mandalorian, you took off your helmet. He has, since that point, as far as we know, since Grogu left with Luke, he has not taken that helmet off. So it's like he instantly went back into his old ways. He did it as like a last ditch resort, and their ways are basically like, if you do it, then you're not one of us, and they don't want to see a reason for that. And it's sad watching him go and just basically be like, no, I can do it. I'm gonna go to Mandalore, and I'm gonna bathe in the mines, and I'm gonna be a Mandalorian again. And I'm like, buddy, just
so sad. Like,
and everyone's kind of hinting at him, just like, let it go.
yeah, seriously, it's so sad.
That's why, again, these two roll up, and he's talking to Armor, who, like, again, he saved her life, and she does not care. She's like, leave me alone, and makes me angry. But he's like, you said this is the only way I can do this. And she was like, he's like, okay, I'm going to do it. And she was like, you can't. They're gone. And he's like, I'll figure it out. And so he's off on a mission. And his little mission takes him, they're in space. And they're in their new little ship, which is crazy. I wondered how Grogu was going to, like, I wondered how the ship functions
Mm-hmm.
because first of all, the Razor Crest used to have like a bed,
Mm-hmm.
a bathroom, places for them to go, and
Mm-hmm.
this ship is basically like,
Well, I mean, I could pull up my incredible cross sections and like go through it right now, but it basically that droid pod, there's like a door or an opening because the droid is
yeah,
supposed to go in there, and if
yeah,
the pilot needs to work on the droid or fix the droid in any way while they're like in space or piloting or whatever, they can just like turn around and work on that. So it's basically it's sort of hollowed out just a little bit for Grogu so he can go up there, but he can also like crawl through that little opening and get in front.
yeah. Which was that was fun to see because I wondered. I was like, how is this gonna work? And then
Mhm.
that was cute when he like crawled down and he was like, because I know they have names. I call them the space squids. Everyone, every time I say something that I know the name of the thing, I'm not calling it that. I'm calling like the
Okay,
space
okay.
alligator. Space
Space
alligator. I know
whale.
he got a name.
Yeah.
These are
The
the
turtle.
space squids. The space squids.
Dude, I will tell you, like we're gonna talk more about this in the premiere episode, but like this was one of those shots where I was really thankful to be in a theater full of Star Wars fans because as soon as
Everyone screamed.
everyone yeah, as soon as everyone knew like what these things were, as soon as it like clicked, you could like hear it in the audience where everyone went, oh, like, holy crap, it's the Burgle. And like I just know Dave Filoni was down in the audience, like, yeah,
He's
yeah,
like, all my nerds, they're
I
all
know.
screaming.
Everyone freaked out, like, and it was funny because you could hear everyone kind of like half of the audience was freaking out and the other half of the audience that hasn't watched Rebels was like, what's going on, what's the big deal, like they're just giant squids, like why are you
You're
so
like, yeah, but
happy?
they're important. Well, the thing is, listen, no offense to those people who didn't freak out when they saw them. But even if you didn't watch Rebels, assume if something like that happens, assume it's something from Rebels if you don't know. Like it was so obviously something that like you gotta just assume at that point, like, oh, this must be something from one of the animated shows and carry on. Just
Yeah,
scream with them. Enjoy the experience.
yeah. And for
Um,
those who aren't acquainted, these are the purgils. They are basically space whales, and
mhm.
they are animals that can naturally travel through hyperspace. So in Rebels, there's like a moment where the crew can't power its ship through hyperspace, and they get help from the purgils because Ezra can talk to animals to get through hyperspace. So
They're basically like the whale thing in Doctor Who that the whole town is on top of. That like came to the town to save them, but then
Mhm.
they trapped it because they're like, "This is the only way we can survive." And then the doctor was like, "No, it came to save you, and you're hurting it." And then they let it free, and it stays with them and takes them around. That's what he was going to do anyway. Um, I love space whales.
I
Just
love
the
space.
genre of a space
Space
whale.
whales and space tardigrades are like my favorite things that have ever happened in space fantasy and sci-fi. So
They're great. They're big and they're fun, and they're like, "Wee, here I
they're
am.
wonderful.
I'm
They're
in
great.
space."
They're friendly. They don't like get in the middle of your hyperspace traffic. So it's nice.
Yeah, they don't bother you because clearly Grogu is like, "What the fuck?" And
Yeah.
Din is
Like this
out.
is this is one of those rare moments where we see Din like sleeping, like he's totally chill and not on edge. It's so weird.
And Grogu's like, "Yes. Do you see the space whale? Because I see the space whale. Hello, hello." And he does not care. Yeah, he
Mhm.
doesn't care at all. So they are going. What's crazy is Din just like has a plan instantly, and I'm like, I'm proud of you, buddy. You've grown.
Mhm.
You you aren't just walking around the game trying to figure shit out. He like, I got a plan. I got this droid.
Mhm.
The droid in question is he wants IG-11. You know, the dead guy
Yep.
for
Mini
his first
droids.
season. The type droid.
Mhm.
I did see someone online, and I fully disagree with them. I don't remember who this person is. I'm not searching for them. That said, I don't understand like why they had to bring back the Taika droid. Like it doesn't make any sense. It does make sense. Din Djarin hates droids.
Yeah.
It is established he does not trust them. He doesn't like them. The only droid he's ever trusted was IG-11 because IG-11 sacrificed himself to protect Grogu and saved Din. So it makes sense.
Yep.
That was my soapbox. They go to see Grief Karga, aka Carl Weathers, which what a great line about Cara Dune, which is basically like, yeah, she's gone, bye.
It's like, what about Marshall Dune? Like, she's just gone. She left.
She got recruited.
It's fine. It's great. But like, I flippin' love this outfit. Here we go.
Yeah,
this is a
Grief
good
Karga is
right.
one.
This outfit, the little droids that he has, I love it so much.
Producer Ashley just said the droid's carrying his cape. When he turned around and the droids were like carrying the bag of the cape, I was like, this is the greatest day of my life.
It's so fantastic. It's the cutest little thing. And I'm just like, when I walk down the aisle, like that's what I want. I don't want no children carrying my veil. I want droids carrying my veil just like that. But his magistrate outfit is just perfect, and I love it so much. But it's great. Like it's a great little upgrade. He is now the Grand Magistrate, and he's got this like bopping new outfit. We love seeing Carl Weathers, and his society is thriving. Like Navarro, the last time we left it was just rebuilding. Like they just got new schools, and they were becoming like a proper society. And now it's this like beautiful like little city that he's running. Like it's a little cargo port, and everyone's happy and everyone's playing music, and everything seems fine.
I loved that. I loved Navarro. I was like, okay, go off. I like that like Din goes to Navarro. He's like, what's going on with this town? Why is it all cool? But then like him and Grief Karga are boys. Like the two of them went from like kind of a boss boss like subordinate relationship to like, hello, this is my best friend. I will do anything he asks of me because I love him.
Yeah, it's so great. Like they've faced death together though, so like multiple times. Yeah. So like I too would just approach like someone that I have faced death with, like, oh my god, it's my friend.
Like for sure, Grogu considers him Uncle Karga.
Yeah,
like that they're that kind of family now. They're all like, yes. Grogu grows up. He's like, hello, I'm on Navarro. This is my uncle. And all of the school kids are like, didn't you come and eat cookies in here one time? He's like, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just hanging out. But I do love. So they go and they have a conversation. Basically, where Din's like, I want IG-11. This is what I got to do. Again, Grief Karga is like, or you can just come work with me. Like you don't need to go Lorian again. Like everyone's
like you can just chill, have a really nice apartment, raise your child in peace.
Yeah.
Not have to worry about your cult.
Said child is spinning around in a chair.
Trying to get them Reese's Pieces.
The fact that they have a full conversation of important things, and the entire time Grogu's just spinning. He's just like,
yep. I mean, it's perfect. He's just like a normal kid would be. Like and I really enjoy Grogu in this episode because like he's a lot more vocal. Like you can tell like he's developed and time has passed and he's kind of come out of his shell. And yeah, I love that. I thought it was cute. It was cute without being like cheesy and corny, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah. I loved him so much. He just spun around the trail time.
He's like, hey, because he meets Grief in front of the IG statue, and he's like, hey, I need that. And Grief is like, that's all that we have of him is just like his torso and an arm, but sure, I'll try. And so they go try to fix it, and IG-11 wakes up and is like, oh, I'm waking up. Oh, I'm waking up. Oh, I'm evil. Like, and just like does this freaking horror movie spider crawl across the floor. Yeah. Man,
it's full Terminator. He goes full Terminator where it's like no legs, one just like crawling across the floor.
Must kill the asset, etc.
Yeah, and then Din literally throws Grogu across the room so he can kill it. And they're like, get him! And then a droid throws the bust of Grief Karga on IG, and that's how he stops. That they just shove the bust on him, and then it falls, and they're like, okay, we defeated IG-11. So then they're like, well, now we gotta find someone who can fix a droid, because Din realizes after that maybe he was not qualified to fix the droid. Like, maybe this was too big of a job. And so then Grief Karga says, great, we have the greatest droid smiths have all come to Navarro. The droid smiths in question are the Anzellan, who you may know as Babu Frick. Yes. That species. The species of Babu Frick, they're all there. There they are. I love them so much.
I just love it. And I love this scene. Look, okay, I love everything about the way this episode, like the set design in this episode, because I admire the volume. I really think it's such a cool piece of technology, but we broke away a lot from it in this episode. And you can tell with like the set of Navarro, it's like a full-blown set. This particular scene where, like, you know, Mando's like huddled up in like this little like doggy door like corner.
Yeah, the funniest thing I've ever seen.
It's so funny.
I think it is so funny watching him sitting at this table, because it's like, so to set this scene, it's like, I keep saying Babu Frick, but the Anzellan is talking, and they're just like, yeah, like Babu Frick does. Like, okay. Yeah, okay. And you're like, what did I just agree to? And Din is doing that. He's like, do you speak? He's like, what language is this? And then Grief Karga is bending down, being like, he said this, this, and this. And Din's just like, what the fuck? And so the whole time you're like, well, how is Din in there? Like, what is going on? Is he like at the other window, whatever? No, he's literally sitting. He somehow climbed into this workshop.
He just got in there. It's adorable. It's really cute. And like, you know, this is these little guys, you can like kind of make out what they're saying anyway. So it's really funny to like hear like this 3-part conversation of like them saying stuff. And by the end, Mando's like, I get it. I know.
Yeah. That's my favorite part of that whole scene, is when by the end of it, Grief is still translating and Din is like, yeah, now I'm aware. Now I understand what they're saying to me, and you're still translating it like I don't understand. You know, Grogu loves a small thing.
Yes. Oh, he like tries to cuddle him. Oh, he's like, I just want to hold you.
I said, this is like me and my cat.
I know, right?
My cat wants me to
It's
hold
me when
him.
I try to love on my cat. Like, no, let me go. Let me go.
And Din pushes him away, and then if you look, like, Din pushes him away because, you know, Grogu is trying to strangle this creature, not intentionally. He's like, I love you, I want to hold you. So Din pushes him away, to which he's like, no, come back, come back, I love you, come back.
And it's just such fun, and there's like such fun like combinations of puppetry in this scene. Like I love it. Like this whole episode too is just like a wonderful like ode to creature design, because we've got this scene and then like almost promptly after, right, we've run into
the pirates. So all the pirates are like trying to get into the school. They're like, this is a bar, and everyone's like, no, it's not. And they're like, well, you're gonna give us something to drink. And they're like, it's a school. And then Grief Karga walks up and goes, it's a school. I love it so much. It's so dumb. They're just like, no, it's a school. I'm not going, like, you can't drink in there. Children are learning.
Children are learning.
But the like main guy used to be, I guess, one of Grief Karga's bounty hunters, because he's like being a dick to Grief Karga about it. He's like, oh, well, you had no problem doing this, this, and this. So like him and Grief Karga they duel each other essentially, like the wow 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 kind of duels with their blasters. And Grief shoots this pirate in the hand, disarming him, and then all his little lackeys, when Grief was like, okay, get your gun, like, let's work, come on, I will, like, get you a drink, they're all about to shoot. And so that means Din was like, bah, 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 and like went to town killing all these guys, killed everyone but the one pirate. And Din even said, you're gonna let him go? And he said to and Grief Karga said to him, he'll go and tell everyone, like, Navarro is a respectable place now, like, don't mess with it. Well, that backfires later in the episode.
Yeah, that did not it didn't play out very well.
The whole idea is that Din knows he needs a droid part now. They told him he basically needs an IG-11 like memory card, because, or just an IG memory card, because IG-11's got like fucked up when the blast happened. And so Din and Grogu were like, okie dokie. So the pirate, Din's like basically like, yeah, no, what are you doing? Like, he shouldn't leave. And Grief Karga says, no, he'll tell everyone this is a respectable place. Almost immediately after, Din and Grogu are driving in space. They're on their next little part of their mission that Din has planned out, and the pirates show up. Like within minutes of this. But it's really cute because right before it, Din is teaching Grogu all how to fly a plane. A plane. What am I? A noob? Fly a ship. He's like, yeah, that's part of our Mandalorian way. Like, we know how to fly ships. We know how to do this. Da 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 da. Like, here's what you do. You can look at maps. And Grogu, and he goes, yeah, and this shows like what's in proximity, and then it's immediately just starts going off. And all the pirates are there, and they're basically like, you disrespected us, we're gonna fight you. And Din gets out of it within 2 seconds. He kills more of them. And then the one pirate who they let go leads him to like the main pirate guy. And he's like, he has them on his tracker, like their tracking beam. And he's basically like, you need to do this because of this, this, and this. And Din just drives really, really fast and gets away from it. He just goes, okay, I'm gonna go really fast and just leave. I don't want to deal with this. And he doesn't. And I respect that. That Din Djarin said, I don't want to deal with this, and so I'm not going to deal with this. And went, wee. The whole thing is taking him to a Mandalorian castle.
I will say that one of the ways that I actually appreciate the way the exposition is being like interpreted, I guess, is that Din is telling Grogu these things to teach him. Like, we don't have to, like, we learn what this planet is called because Din tells him, and we're learning little things about how to be a Mandalorian, but they splice in this information so that like we don't have to worry about like words on screen or anything like that. So
yeah, it's nice. It's like, it's just like, here's your little lesson, and you are Grogu. Din's teaching you. But they go to the castle, and depressed Bo-Katan is just sitting on this chair doing nothing. So this makes a lot more sense than it did when I didn't know the timeline. That it's been like 2 years since season 2. So
she's been hanging out.
Everyone left her because they were like, you don't have the Darksaber, and like she is seen as a failure. So it makes sense why she is so alone. At first I was like, that was a really quick turnaround. Like, Grogu was not gone that long.
But at the same time, Mandalorians are so intense that it's like, if it had happened in 5 minutes, I would have been like, yeah, that's believable.
It's the Mandalorians. That checks out. She's sitting on the throne. Din comes to her, and he's like, yo, I need to go to the mines. I need to bathe in the waters and redeem myself for my transgressions. And that's when she's like, my guy, you're in a cult. You're fine. You don't need to do that. And he's like, I do though. And she's like, but you don't. Leave me alone. I want to be left alone. I'm sad. He's like, but I want to do it. And she's just like, I don't care what you want to do. And yeah, the episode ends with those two chit-chatting. And
It's interesting. I mean, yeah, like I said, this is a Bo-Katan who is at like her lowest of low. Like she's messed up before, and like she's had problems here and there before. Some sad stuff has happened to her. She's watched her entire family die, but is this is where it stops. You know, like this is where things are just like a little too intense because she's all alone. She has nobody in that castle with her except for that droid.
It's very sad. I love it, but I did feel very bad. She's just like, this is my life. I'm sitting in this castle.
Yep, very sad.
And that is the premiere episode of The Mandalorian.
I'm excited. Can't wait for the rest of this season. It's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
I think that there have been some really neat conscious changes made in this season, and I think that we're getting set up for a really cool adventure.
Yeah. I'm very excited to see where it goes. We know we're getting a season 4. So at least we know we're always going to have more of our Mandalorian.
Yes.
And yeah. And so with that, guys, you know what time it is. Stash. The stash on everybody's lips is gonna be Petro's.
Hey.
Welcome to Stash of the Week, where we
goodness.
pick our favorite pictures of Podro Pascal from this week.
Wow.
Didn't pick any from this episode for obvious reasons. He was in a helmet. Katrina, do you want to go first?
Yeah, my stash of the week is from last week. The Graham Norton show in London. This is just a great stash. Very relatable facial expression. Let me see if I can do it.
Oh wait, it's more like his mustache is like throwing me off because it goes down.
Yeah.
But his lips go up. So I'm like,
I don't know. I can't get it. I don't have a mustache, so it's.
I don't have anything.
You know, directionally, I'm challenged here. So, yeah.
This is my mustache.
It's good.
Wait, this is better.
Yeah.
I picked this lovely junket look from the interview he did with our dear friend Ash Rasan, who I'm obsessed with everything she does with this man.
Yay!
As she said, she fears she may have daddied them too close to the sun.
Oh goodness!
It's a good look. It's casual. It's fun.
Yeah, I like
really
it.
Nice.
I like it a lot. Yeah. It's nice.
And guys, that's our recap for the first episode of The Mandalorian
My
season 3.
Genuinely, look at us. Holy cow.
Killing it.
We are.
Katrina, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me anywhere on the internet if you look for Katrina. That's OHCATRINA. And you can find me on the next episode of Podro Pascal when we talk about the premiere.
In like 10 minutes. You can follow me at Rachel Leishman on Twitter, at Rachel_Leishman on Instagram. You can find my work on websites. Make sure to like, rate, review, subscribe to the podcast, and follow us on Podro Pascal on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And until next time, bye-bye.